Back to School Authority, and now we're just a few weeks away from families heading back. Many schools or child care centers require kids to be up to date with their immunizations before heading back to the classroom. The COVID-19 pandemic put a lot of families behind on routine health care appointments last year, so it's even more important to see what your child might need. Joining us now, Mick Bolduc, the vaccine coordinator with the Department of Public Health. Mick, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Aaron.
So the pandemic really affected a lot of us in many ways, and one of those ways was foregoing some of the doctor's appointments that we would typically make for ourselves and family members. What happens now with the school year just right around the corner if these children are not up to date on their vaccines?
Right, it's a great point. A lot of kids did miss a lot of their appointments, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. They have caught up somewhat, but if they are behind schedule on their immunizations, we want them to get caught up as quickly as possible. If they are still behind schedule, as long as they have a documented catch-up schedule, they can start school. And then as long as they continue on that documented catch-up schedule, they can continue in school.
So there is a grace period, because I was getting concerned that with just 2 weeks to go for a lot of these schools, it would be pretty hard to get in with your pediatrician.
Right, as long as they have that documented catch-up schedule and they continue on that documented catch-up schedule, they'll be allowed in school, because the last thing we want to do is keep kids out of school. But they have to have a documented catch-up schedule to bring to school with them.
Absolutely. Now, I know the religious exemption that goes into effect this school year. How is that impacting families?
So we don't have an exact number on how many children will be impacted by that, since school hasn't started yet. But any of the pre-K students that are going to be going to kindergarten this fall, again, they'll have to have a documented catch-up schedule in order to start school, and they'll have to continue with those immunizations on the documented catch-up schedule in order to continue in school as we move along during the fall. Public Act 21-6 passed last year, and that did allow children that had a religious exemption up until September 1st of 2022. But that is quickly approaching. So those children will not be able to use a religious exemption after that date.
You also throw the flu vaccine and the COVID-19 vaccines into the mix, and it really can get confusing for parents. What would be your best advice to make sure that you're staying on top of this and getting them the shots that they need at the appropriate time?
So there's obviously a lot of questions about the number of vaccines that are needed. If parents have concerns, if they have questions, the best authority is to ask their healthcare provider, ask their child's pediatrician or family practitioner about the schedule, about the importance of staying on schedule, because not only is it important for children to receive their vaccines, it's important to get them at the times that they're supposed to receive them as well.
All right, a lot of good advice and information. Mick Bolduc with the Department of Public Health. We appreciate you being with us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.